Welcome to Restoring Hope, a podcast of the Wyoming Rescue Mission. I'm Darren Adwell-Palker, and with me is Brad Hopkins, the Executive Director of the Wyoming Rescue Mission.
Oh, Darren, awesome to be with you, and this is an amazing, historic moment. Our listeners and viewers don't realize it. We've been talking about a podcast forever. It's probably just bounced around in my brain, and you're making it happen.
Well, here we are.
And Dennis behind the camera, so thank you.
Episode 1, this is our first podcast conversation.
Oh, man.
Really excited about it. And my goal here in this conversation is to help our listeners get an idea of what the Wyoming Rescue Mission is, who we are, what we do. So, Brad, just start by talking to us, like, what is the Wyoming Rescue Mission? If somebody out there has never heard of us, who are we?
That's an incredible question, because I get people asking me, what is a rescue mission? And they guess several different things. We're working with people that are homeless, and our goal is to restore homeless lives to community independence with the love of Christ. Our tagline, we say restoring hope, transforming lives, which kind of flows out of that mission, but it is just meeting people that are destitute for a multiplicity of reasons. Could be mental health, could be addiction, could be familial breakup, could be loss of income stream due to employment discontinuing for a number of reasons there. And we are that safety net, both for Casper and Natrona County, but much of Wyoming. You know, we're a very rural state, and particularly in the dead of winter, it's dangerous if you don't have a place to go overnight. Could be unsafe as well during the summer months. So we're that place that is, that's where the rescue term comes in. We're providing really emergency, immediate relief to catastrophic circumstances. And, you know, most of us, we can't imagine what homelessness is like.
Right.
And there's a lot of mislabeling of homeless people, and yet it's cliche, but the paycheck away is true of so many of our people in our population, you know, especially when we're talking about a 10 to 11% poverty rate. And you know, folks, you know, for a family of 3, that's lower 20,000 is the federal government. I call that extreme poverty. Even if you're with an employment of $18 an hour, you're still well below certainly cost of living for a family.
Sure.
And an illness happens. You know, I met a gentleman and just, he seemed, you know, very upstanding, but he had some sort of a neurological problem, some sort of neuropathy in his hands, and good oil field work, and just could not work anymore. And we were that backstop for him, really the family away from family, and such a privilege.
Give us an overview, Brad, of the programs that we provide. So somebody walks in off the street, comes into the mission, what happens, and sort of what's the potential trajectory for that life? At
Wyoming Rescue Mission, part of our vision is to nurture sanctuaries of radical hospitality. So through the amazing generosity of our community, in fact, I was just having breakfast this morning, and the guys were just talking about, you know, just cannot believe the care and love, you know, that they feel through our shelter, which is, we call it the Park Street Center, but it begins walking up to a building that is attractive, that speaks dignity and purpose. Now, by no stretch is it the Waldorf or, you know, some fancy high-end hotel. You know, you're in a dorm with 39 other people, so these are all bunks. It's a little bit Spartan, but, you know, considering the circumstances, it's a tremendous opportunity. It begins with a meal, and with our radical hospitality, we are serving a nutritious, well-balanced, looks good, tastes good meal. Our staff are the backstop, professionally trained, but yet our volunteers come in. We have so many churches and various charitable groups and businesses that volunteer and help out, and it begins with that meal, and then a place to sleep, shower, we provide laundry. Very quickly, within 2 to 3 weeks, 75% of the people are getting some sort of employment.
They're paired with a case manager.
And they're paired with a case manager, but to go out and get a job, and this is the tyranny of homelessness. I mean, you can just be within arm's reach of amazing opportunities,
right.
but when you're just worried about where am I going to eat, where am I going to sleep, how am I going to get clean clothing to be able to go out for that job interview, we remove all of those barriers. And really serve as the hub to get back connected to opportunity, healthy, supportive relationship, and then community independence.
So we meet people where they are. They come through the door in whatever condition they might find themselves in. We love them. We give them shelter, meals, showers, case management. What would you say is sort of our goal for their trajectory? As you mentioned, some of them within a couple weeks they're back on their feet, they're working, community independence, that's great. For others that want to take a deeper dive into root causes and looking at the underlying issues, what do we have to offer those people?
Oh, and thanks so much for bringing up case management, Darren. I mean, this is, each guest is paired with the professionally trained staff to help guide the guest on their journey to community independence. But as far as more intensive programs is our discipleship recovery program. 40% of the people we serve that are homeless, it's due to an addiction, life-controlling substance use disorder, maybe a little bit more recent term that's being utilized, drugs and or alcohol. But the addiction is really not the problem, it's the symptom of the problem. And
it's the way they're trying to treat the problem, which is the underlying pain, trauma.
Terrible pain, and it's probably a both and for most, trying to sedate. Our people have been through just terrific trauma. I mean, I think of a gentleman that grew up around the Lander area and had great work as a heavy equipment operator, but he grew up in a family that loved to party and would take home delivery of 12 to 13 cases of beer each week, and growing up in that environment, and then the ensuing hostility and anger. He learned that as a coping mechanism for stress. And some get into drugs because they're trying to be Superman and power through things and get a higher level of energy and performance, and all that works for a little while, but then it crashes. It's the terrible thing about addiction. It's the more you have, the more you have to have, and the law of diminishing returns with that particular behavior. And so we have people that are completely destitute and homeless due to these severe life traumas and challenges, and they've taken up drugs and or alcohol. And so that's what our discipleship recovery program does. We really get into the weeds and help people to understand. It's the proverbial onion, and peeling off the layers. We have licensed clinical therapists on staff, all the way to our case managers, and then we have a whole menu of classes where we're working through biblically based, what is your real identity? You're not some piece of trash that you were raised and told.
Or you're not just your past.
Or your past, and to experience that inner healing that Jesus ultimately wants to bring. And we see amazing transformation. I mean, you can just think of people, I mean, even from my own weak human perspective, seeing them and thinking, man, oh man, they're just going to die this way, and then all of a sudden they something clicks, and they see that opportunity, and they begin to yield and surrender, and there's something new that just blossoms that's just miraculous.
And I know we've often talked about that the way we define poverty determines our approach. So if poverty is a lack of stuff, then give people stuff, and they're not poor, right? And that's the approach that some organizations take, or trying to meet real needs, which is important,
Yeah.
but it doesn't get to the deepest need. If
Yeah.
we, from a biblical perspective, understand poverty is rooted in broken relationships. First pages of Scripture, we see humanity, broken relationship with God, with ourselves, which spills into our relationships with others, community, and creation itself. And so if that's the root cause of our brokenness, then first of all of us fall into that category. So there's no better than here. But also what that means is that we need to take a relational approach to find healing. And that's where the Discipleship Recovery Program is a one-year program, because you can't rush through those layers of healing. And we have sober living facilities, so people that graduate from the program, they are working there in community independence, but still want a supportive, safe environment to continue on that trajectory.
The Discipleship Recovery Program, I mean, it's incredibly powerful and beautiful and transformative, and it's about that ultimate spiritual healing that as the Scripture says, Christ became impoverished so that we may become rich. And other Scriptures say, blessed are those who are poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. There's so much in the Word of God, and where we're essentially called upon to be God's hands and feet to care for the poor and to see them elevate. Some have used the excuse, well, Jesus said the poor you'll always have, almost to imply, well, you shouldn't do anything. No, he's saying, I'm the source and the core of why you serve. It's because I love those who are marginalized, and we do it as an act of devotion. I mean, Wyoming Rescue Mission at its very core is founded by a collective of churches. And in our articles of incorporation, it says we were founded because of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And Jesus said, I came to preach good news to the poor. And this is what we do. And
going back to the founding, we're on the cusp of our 50th anniversary. Started in 1978. So because this is our first podcast episode, could you walk us through, Brad, briefly sort of a history of the mission, where it started here in Casper in 1978 and where it is now, and just kind of help narrate maybe the story of the mission since its beginnings?
Well, our history, it's a unique Casper product. Churches getting together, seeing the need, not necessarily one church having the resources to do it alone, and yet joining together to form this entity called Wyoming Rescue Mission. 1978 on the west side of town, on CY, just about where that street starts. And
You Bet It Hurts tattoo.
You Bet It Hurts tattoo. And I just saw the city did a study on urban blight, and that building made it in the photo of the report. So I'm like, yes, that's our old mission building.
That's where it all started.
Oh man, yeah, but so much love, and even there's a great story. I'll just mention Don Cooper. Don and Susie Cooper have been with us since the beginning. I mean, there's so many people in the community, but he was volunteering, and they continue to be partners to this day to the work over at that You Bet It Hurts location, installing a door, and somebody driving by is screaming, "Get a job!" and here's Don. He's always been hardworking and not maybe impoverished in the early days. I don't know, but not homeless. One of our volunteers, and that door is on the building to this day. So I've got a photo of it in my office they gave me. But yeah, to understand where we're heading, we need to understand where we've been.
Right.
And just that ethos of intimate care, the meal, the place to sleep, recovery programs, which we say are free, but they're really donor paid for.
Right.
Incredible generosity. But then in 1991, we moved to the east side of town, into a brothel of all things.
Fifi's.
That Fifi's that the city had coded and shut down, and we got 30 years out of that building. It's amazing. You look at it from the 70s era, and it's like, my gosh, it should have been torn down then. And but so much redemption, so many lives turned around, but it had just served its time. And we launched into a campaign a little more than 8 years ago now, and it really gave us the current campus that we have, which is a brand new 20,000 square foot Park Street Center, which serves men, women, and single and families as well, with kids, and then dining facilities, office, classrooms, and then our discipleship recovery space. So when you dedicate a year of your life to recovery, we move you across the street to our discipleship recovery centers, and you have a shared room of your own. So you get out of the 40-person dorm into a room, a little bit of accountability with another individual there, but then teaching those life skills, recovery, getting people back connected to education, employment opportunity in the communities, the long game, which, it's amazing, 87% of the people that graduate are self-sufficient a year later out of the discipleship recovery program. So we're thrilled with those results.
And if you were to see pictures of North Park Street now, or drive down North Park Street now, and what it was in the past, the night and day, just kind of describe that. I mean, because that area was known notoriously because of its drug and crime.
It's a rough area. I mean, we had a young kid, this tragic story, lived at the north end of the block that on methamphetamine murdered his mother. It's been a challenged and stressed neighborhood, and just a beautiful kind of tertiary impact that we've had. If you look up the 2011 version of Google Maps and then look at it today, it's shocking. I mean, I had kind of forgotten even myself, and it just blew me away. God has just so benefited the immediate surroundings, a lot more appealing, a lot more safe, and then dignified buildings and structures that really speak in to the humanity and dignity of each individual.
And when did you come in as executive director?
I came in at the end of 2012, so it's been a little more than 13 years now, middle of December, and it's been an amazing honor. I mean, God's at the helm, testament to the Lord Jesus Christ, and just His amazing working through incredible people in our community.
To see the community come together, and under your leadership, to see the growth and development, the change, the Park Street Center, the discipleship homes, and you see it now, and you walk down, and you kind of get this sense, it's always been like this. But I mean, we're talking recent history here in the last. Actually, I moved to Casper in 2018, and just a couple months later, the Park Street Center opened, and so I have seen it from that. I saw the old Park Street Hotel. So I've been able to witness some of that change and transformation. But I know also right now we're in a season of growth and a season of increased need in our community. And so we want to also use this podcast as a way for people to understand how they can be involved. I love what you said, and for me, one of the things that's so awesome about the mission, it really was a collaboration of the community, of churches, individuals, organizations coming together saying, we want to do something that makes a difference in our community, and we're a tangible expression of that. But to remind people that we don't run on air, right? And so what are the ways that people can get involved? Everything from, volunteering to becoming advocates for serving, giving. I mean, help our listeners understand the on-ramps.
We do have amazing staff, but they're really the skeletal structure of the organization, and volunteers are just the critical lifeblood of the organization. And a part of the vision that Jesus Christ cast down when He said it's more blessed to give than receive. And wow, I love the joy. It just blesses me of our volunteers serving a meal, and they're just like right in their sweet spot, just fulfilled, and just the blessing of caring for those that are in a more difficult position. And incidentally is a critical part of all of our programs. Every guest, once they come in, we ask, all right, this is all paid for, but there's something you can give back.
That's good.
And that's an amazing, empowering experience, basic chores, that type of thing.
Sure.
But we need the volunteers. I mean, everything within our discipleship recovery program, mentors, we utilize teachers from the community. Some of them are retired and they're in that spot of 65 to 80 and
so much wisdom,
tremendous
and life
health,
experience
wisdom
to give back.
A lot of our people didn't have a grandparent or even a godly role model parent, and so these volunteers get to be that for our people, and our guests latch on and just really learn. So many creative volunteer opportunities. We've had some artist things here lately. We need people to help with grounds, just practical skills.
And our thrift stores.
Painting, thrift stores.
That started in the mid-90s.
It's an amazing thing. Rescue treasures.
Yeah.
We haven't even touched on that, but I love our rescue treasures. They are a training laboratory for our folks in recovery. And so they're serving in the afternoon, giving back, gaining good job skills, but then tremendous service to the community because, we're being good stewards. We're not just throwing stuff away. A lot of it that's still of use and value. We're able to sell it. It also funds a third of our cost for programs, the direct service that we provide.
Which is awesome because so many people in our community know about Rescue Treasures. We have one on the east side and one on the west side. So every time people donate there, shop there, and serve there, we need volunteers to come help us sort through things, put things on shelves, and that's a way that, a fun way that to help the rescue mission.
It's truly a treasure hunt. I mean, it's amazing the things that come in, but we do need financial partners as well. We do not exist without the generosity here in Natrona County and from around the state. We've recently have needed to grow. It's increased about 13% our cost to restore homeless lives. It's a $721,000 lift from the previous year. You can look at the impacts of inflation over the last several years, but then also increased need that we're serving. But I've been really excited. We've added, our partners make it possible to add our counseling and therapy program that we have with 2 licensed clinical therapists on staff, and just connecting our people internally with amazing life restoration.
One of the things I love to do in my role as community engagement coordinator is give people tours of the rescue mission. So I think that's a great place to start. Any of us can do that. Any of our staff are happy to walk people around the facility, to see the work, and then for me, the joy, people that stop in the hallways and just share their story about what's happened in their life, how they came in, where they're at. Those are things that it's an experience. You can't just hear about it. So if you haven't had a chance to come down to the mission, we'd love to show you around, to see it, and then to see what starts to bubble up in your mind about your unique giftings and ability. As you mentioned, there's classes. We had some people starting some watercolor classes recently. There's music opportunities. There's financial coaching and mentoring. And I like to encourage people to think, what is that unique passion, that unique thing that you bring to the world, and come share that with us, because our guests need the whole, we deal with the whole person, and so it's every aspect.
And as we said, I mean, you were saying earlier, Darren, articulated so well, I mean, homelessness is just simply disconnection from healthy supportive relationships. Whether you're a person of faith or not, you can look back into your life and see these people, that all of us that have lifted us to the point where we're at, giving that one employment opportunity, or being there as a mentor in a particular moment. And so this is what our volunteers do for our guests at the mission, and certainly our financial donors as well. But we've got an exciting future ahead of us, Darren.
Yeah, talk about that. Where are we as we start to close here? Where's the mission headed? What do you envision? What does it look like for us to reach our full potential and helping to restore lives?
It's all with an O word. There's so much more opportunity. We have a vacant dirt lot right now. We're seeing opportunity in the area of more hands-on practical education, helping our people. Now, we've got some great partners at the college that help out with that, with the GED equivalency. HiSET's kind of the newer term, but then helping people to upgrade their lives and get practical employable skills, either
so vocational,
either more academic oriented. And so that Career and Education Center would help with that training. We're just really out of space right now in our classrooms. We're doing a lot more hands-on in this particular area, both with our entry-level shelter population, as well as our longer-term discipleship recovery.
And to give people an idea, we're roughly around 170 guests an evening, would you say, between our emergency services, shelter, and our discipleship recovery. And so to feed, house, support, provide services, counseling, coaching, teaching, for every level.
And there's another level to that called sober living. This is an amazing recent out of vision and opportunity our board really caught a hold of, is for those graduating out of the discipleship recovery program, sober living houses. So we have 2 of those for men currently. We're looking forward to a third for women that are graduating. That's what we're looking at for the future, along with the Career Training Education Center. Recently, 7 amazing donors have made this thing called Recovery Ranch possible for Wyoming Rescue Mission. You're in Wyoming, we're in ranch country. This is a beautiful property south of Douglas with a tremendous mountainous outdoor environment, with the long-term strategic plan in place for a resident population living in recovery, learning about their future from nature, about who God is, connecting that way, but then also getting practical, hireable job skills, be it in the ag-related fields or hospitality out at that recovery ranch. So, we're just about to celebrate our 50th birthday, Darren. There's another 50 years of work ahead of us.
For sure.
I'm really excited for our future and just so grateful for amazing visionary partners that make all of this possible, and so we thank each one.
Yeah, and the goal of our podcast is to keep people updated on what's happening, where we've been, to say thank you, and to invite people on the journey with us, to grow together, to realize that we all have something to offer in this work of transformation. So what word of encouragement would you leave to our listeners, as sometimes it's easy to get overwhelmed at the state of the world today and to think, what difference can I make? So maybe close with a word of encouragement to those listening.
I tell you, the word of encouragement, Darren, is that God cares. I walked up early this morning to our main shelter, and the sparrows were just singing away under the shelter of our porch there. And I thought, how beautiful. Jesus talks about the birds. He cares for the birds. They don't have to worry about where to get a meal.
And how much more valuable are you?
And yes, he knows when the sparrow falls. He knows each person. The people that are struggling with homelessness, they are a priceless value to God. And we're called to serve them. But each of us are a priceless value to him, so much so that he sent his son Jesus for us, that we may have life and have it eternally. And I just thank our partners, our viewers. Even if you don't get directly involved with the mission, there is somebody you can touch that's in need. We're seeing a spike here of seniors that are homeless, and we all touch people in our families, extended networks of folks that are marginalized, and just that call and the amazing opportunity it is to have God work through us to serve another. And we just are so thankful that God cares, and that He cares through us for another.
Well, Brad, thanks for the work that you do. Thanks for the invitation for our community and our state and nation to be involved in what's happening here at the Wyoming Rescue Mission. We want to continue to see that continue to grow and develop. Thank you for listening and being a part of this podcast today. Go visit our website at wyomission.org. Come stop by. We'd love to show you around, give you a tour, help you see firsthand the amazing work that's happening and how you can be involved. Thanks for listening.